What is going on, people around the world? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. This is your preview for the game against Leicester City in the Premier League. I did have an all introduction to speak to you, Shrey, as to speak to Sam, but I just want to discuss the games because Manchester City have just dropped points against Nottingham Forest at like an 83rd minute goal, I think, from Gibbs White for Forest. And Arsenal looked like they was going to lose and ended up going on to win to a Jorginho, Emilio Martinez situation. I think they got 4 points ahead of him now, so shaping up at the top four differently. We've got Newcastle playing Liverpool very shortly. How are you feeling about this top four race now, lads? Shreyas?
Yeah, I think it is a perfect opportunity for us once again to actually, get some points. Like we saw last week that Arsenal dropped points. We saw Chelsea, we saw Newcastle dropping points as well. And we managed to, able to convert a really, really tough game, which, could have gone anywhere after Casemiro got that red card. So
Yeah.
I think once again, it's that sort of a situation for us this week. Definitely, I thought probably Villa could be able to hold Arsenal to a draw, but ended up going Arsenal's way. But still, I think now with City dropping points, it gives us a good, it gives us a slight advantage to actually, cement our position in that third or second position as well, because Arsenal do have to play Man City once again. Either one of those teams lose, or either whether it is a draw or whether Arsenal wins, you could see us, actually progressing up the table. And if we are able to close the gap on City to like 3 or 2 points, then practically it is anyone's game. Because if you look at it in that way, right now the difference is just of 5 points between the first, second, and third position. Now with City dropping points and us winning against Leicester tomorrow, the gap between third and second would be of just 2 points.
Yeah.
So it gives us a perfect opportunity to actually swoop in. And I think it would be the perfect opportunity to swoop in, but it will leave a bad taste afterwards, because we know we won't be moving into first anytime soon.
Hey, steady on. It is like emotionally conflicting in it, Sam, because you see Arsenal today, you wanting them to lose, of course, and then you want City to go above them, but City draw, so you're happy to drop points because we can catch them up. And then you've got Liverpool playing Newcastle in like half an hour's time. So 2 questions on that. Who would you rather have won, Arsenal or City? And then the game coming up today, because I know you absolutely despise Liverpool. Who do you want to win out of that game?
I'd rather City win, because honestly, like, City winning titles doesn't bother me. Like,
yeah,
it really doesn't.
It's only 5 fans, isn't it?
They've got no history. They've got no supporters. They have to beg. They keep extending the stadium for some reason. What they gonna, like, for more space? Like, what the fuck? I don't understand that.
Small aerobics. They're putting an aerobics channel in
more
there.
leg space for the 5 fans that show up. They got no history. The Tim Pock, like, they could win 14 titles in a row. Doesn't bother me. Like, really doesn't bother me. Arsenal, however, the fans are insufferable. Like, fucking insufferable. And the delusion they have, and it then reinforces their beliefs. Like, if they were just shit, you could just put it off and like, oh, they're fucking idiots. But the fact that they win a title is just, that's never going to end. It's just going to be that story. It's like, Arteta brought us back from the dead. But it's just, I can't handle it. I can't deal with it. Don't want to hear it. I don't want to have to hear that. I don't know his name. Ty. Just speaking utter bollocks. I can't stand it. So
you're a Morpay. You're a cheat. You're a disgrace.
Just idiot. So I'd rather City win the league every time. I know Aaron, who's part of the channel, would disagree because he hates City. He hates Manchester City. So it is what it is.
They could have the 3-peat as well, though, if City do it. That's the thing. So you can't like.
And. As far as Newcastle, I believe in Ten Hag securing our top 4 status. So
nice.
I'm all right with Newcastle beating Liverpool. There's still a gap. I think if they win, there's 2 points between us and Newcastle. But I have faith in Ten Hag that he'll secure that top 4 spot no matter what. And in the end of the day, it doesn't matter if we finish 3rd or 4th, as long as we finish in the top 4. That's all that matters, because I don't think we're getting second. I don't think we're going to win the league. So as long as we get 3rd or 4th, I'm happy with that. New owners, new investment, change everything around in the summer, then we gun for it next season. So I'm all right with that. So it's more I can never support Liverpool ever. Like, I can't do it. Like, unless I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe if it was like a Liverpool 11 against Liverpool reserves or something. Do you know what I mean? maybe
Yeah.
then. Like, but yeah, I can't.
I suppose the best we can hope for is a fucking draw in it there with Newcastle and Liverpool. I suppose both teams dropping points. That'd make the most sense for United fans. Now, before we actually dive into the preview for the United game against Leicester, do us a favour, guys. We're currently 22 subscribers off 1,200 subs. So if you haven't joined the community yet, please do and click that subscribe button and smash a like on the video as well if you love the content. There will be a live watch along for the game tomorrow, so come and join myself from 1 o'clock for live team news. Sometimes go a little bit earlier when you get a bit of early team news, so I might go live. Just turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing regardless. Right, let's do some training drills, warm-up questions. Who has scored more in the Premier League, do you think? Jamie Vardy or Robin van Persie?
Feels like a trick question. I'm going to go Vardy.
Yeah, same. Jamie Vardy.
Robin van Persie has more.
What's the difference?
144 RVP's got. Yeah. Jamie Vardy's got 134. So there's 10.
Okay.
It's a 10 difference in it. So that surprised me, to be fair, when I searched it. Next up, what is our biggest scoreline against Leicester in the Premier League? If you have a guess, I don't expect you to know it off by heart, but just have a guess.
Like 4-1, 4-2, something like that.
Shreyas?
4-3.
6-2 in 99.
Wow.
We beat him, yeah. And to be fair, Leicester have received a few. Leicester and Southampton have received a few spankings, to be honest. Yeah. But I was actually giving one out last week, weren't they, to Spurs when they beat them 4-1. Last question: one player you would draft in from their team and why?
Maddison or Tielemans, one of those two, because I think they would do a really good job in our midfield, and that's the kind of player we need. I do like that Tete that they've just signed. He looks like a baller as well. But obviously, it's his first season, so we need him time to develop. But I think, I'd take Maddison or Tielemans. They'd be one of those two. I think they'd be really fit in really well in our midfield.
What about yourself, Shreyas? Who are you cherry picking from Leicester?
I think definitely Maddison has got to be there. I think he'll be, like a perfect backup for Bruno Fernandes, someone who can actually, compete with him as well, because I think he's a very, very gifted player. And except that, I think I would probably take NDD because we don't have a backup CDM at United at the moment.
Yeah, it's not a bad shot at all. I quite like Harvey Barnes. I know he's a bit of a purple patch player, but I'm a big fan of him, and I'd probably take Tielemans as well, just for anyone who give a fuck what I thought. Perfect. Right, let's look at the mighty Leicester tomorrow night then. So Leicester had a really poor start to the season, as I'm sure you lads are aware, under Brendan Rodgers. Talks of relegation battle were looming. Their defence was leaking more than United's dressing room under Rangnick last year, but with the recent upturn in form, they're currently 6 points off the bottom three, which even still for the players that Leicester have, they should be higher up the league. Like the quality they've got, they should be nowhere near where they are. So they've had a shocking start to the season, and you'd expect them to at least be in the top 10. They've conceded 38 goals this season, a lot of fucking goals. But they've still been a threat at the top of the pitch with the likes of the players that Sam was touching on and Andreas was touching off with there, including Iheanacho's recent form as well has been really good. And in the last game away at the King Power Stadium when we played them last year, we came away with a 1-0 win. Jadon Sancho scoring the only goal in that game. But it was a very
terrible game. It was
a very even game as well. So will this one go a similar way? Let's see what the lads think. If I was to ask you, Sam, before the Spurs game, would you have been full of confidence going into this one?
Before the Spurs game?
Yeah, so when obviously, because Leicester beat Spurs 4-1, didn't they?
Oh, I thought you meant us. I was like, when did we play Spurs?
No. So Leicester beat Spurs 4-1. Yeah. But prior to that, would you have been more confident?
I got you. Because they weren't in the greatest form, were they? They weren't playing that well. They were getting beat a lot, not scoring goals. But they've started to get players back. Like Maddison was out injured for a while. I think was Iheanacho out as well. He was out injured, wasn't he, for a bit?
I'm not sure.
And then they've got the other striker who I thought was going to be really, really good, Patterson Daka. I thought he was going to be excellent. Like he was really highly rated when he came in, and he just hasn't took it up at all. So they're still relying on the likes of Vardy and Tielemans and stuff like that. But Maddison's come back to form, and he's playing really, really well, which is like saving him a lot of thing. I don't rate Brendan Rodgers as a manager. I think he's very poor manager. Like he's got one tactic, and then when it doesn't work, he doesn't have any other ideas. So he just sort of sticks with it. I'm surprised he didn't get sacked, to be honest. I really thought he was going to get sacked, but he's still there. It's probably because there's lack of all the sort of good, when they probably would have sacked him, there was all the good managers got taken. So Emery went to Villa, Lopetegui went to Wolves. So I think Eddie Howe, Newcastle. So all those managers they probably could have got all went. So I think that's why they stuck with him. But yeah, I feel confident. Ten Hag, we've got some players back. Sabitzer's back in the team. Lissandro's back in the team. Anthony may or may not be available. So we've got some fresh legs back in the team, which should be good to change it up. Because obviously, a very, very tough game against Barca on Thursday, and we've got another one back at Old Trafford. So I think if we freshen it up, bring Sabitzer in, etc., I think we'll be all right. I think we should have enough to beat them. But we do have to watch their dangerous players. I think Maddison in particular is the dangerous player. I think Tielemans probably leaves at the end of the season. He doesn't look like he's up for it. Doesn't look like he's interested.
I think he's out of contract as well.
I think Maddison might as well, to be honest.
Well,
I think he's better than...
There was rumours of us linked with him, weren't there, for a while, that we were going to come in for him. He is a United fan as well. Like, he's been at Old Trafford quite a lot to watch us. He said his favourite stadium is Old Trafford, so you never know. Might be someone we could pick up in the summer as, like, squad depth in that midfield. Like you said, if Donny's going, Ericsson towards Owls, Maddison is like 24. 25?
I think a little bit older, but it's 26, 27, I think, somewhere around there.
So, but like you could have him as like Shrey said, back up to a Bruno and rotate in and out and stuff like that. I think that's a really good sort of squad depth, and he's good at set pieces as well, which is always good to have in the team.
Yeah. What about Leicester themselves, Shrey? What threats did they have that worry you?
I think right now, the biggest thing about Leicester is that every single attack that they, whatever they try to do on the pitch, Maddison is key to it. Like, if Maddison isn't present on the pitch, all their attackers and midfielders, they actually don't know how to perform. I think Tielemans, once again, has been really, really inconsistent for them. He looks really disinterested while he's even on the field for them. And it shows in the performances as well. So I think... at a particular point of time, I would have said that, Leicester actually have the perfect midfield in the league when Ndidi, Tielemans and Maddison were performing really, really well, because it was, like a perfectly balanced midfield, and Ndidi was a destroyer. Tielemans had that, long shots.
Well, Ndidi, he's not been
Yeah. And Maddison as well, on his day, he can actually change games, within a blink of a second. But now, thing is that they're very, very over-reliant on James Maddison. At the start of the season, when he was the only person who was performing at that team, the moment Maddison got closed down, their entire system completely shut down. And that is the same thing that is happening to them right now. Players definitely are performing well in comparison to the start of the season, but the moment you shut Maddison down, their creativity and their, entire attacking prowess, it just gets, it's like gone by 50%. So I think the biggest thing tomorrow for us to do would be, to put Martinez on Maddison.
Yeah. Well, either Martinez or Casemiro won't playing, is it? Never mind. Yeah. Oh, me heart. Yeah, I suppose one thing we're envious of, Sam, is the things that Leicester do off the pitch. We know they run incredibly well. If you was to implement what they've done for the past what they've done for I don't know how long. How long have they only been in power for? Like fucking 10 years, 8 years, something along the lines of that. And then you look at our 10 years in comparison, it's just been 10 years of pain, hasn't it? So I suppose we can be jealous of what they're doing off the pitch as well.
Yeah, like I think Leicester was used as a comparison. Like when the Glazers took over, Carrington was like a state-of-the-art training facility. And apparently the new standard is Leicester's. Like they spent, I think, was it 80 million? I think they spent on their training facilities.
Maguire's money.
There you go. A lot of money. And apparently theirs is like gold standard now. That it's a very, very well-run, well-kitted out facility. And hopefully that's what we get to do with new owners come in. Hopefully that's the way we go. The owner seems to love the club and the fans seem to love the owner as well. Obviously, they had the tragic accident with the helicopter crash, and you saw how they all came together and sort of like mourned the owner, and his son has like taken over. I think there's a good connection between the owners and the fans there, which is something we've not had for a long time. If anything, we have the complete opposite. we had.
Can you imagine Avram
Yeah.
coming to a final, Sam? Just like that.
I mean, we have also, come out, but not to support, just to protest.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's the only interaction we've had.
Yeah.
Question from Aaron Gregory: do Leicester provide better biscuits though? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I reckon they've got decent tier biscuits. I reckon they have. But with the person we're bringing in now, they've got no fucking chance.
Yeah.
We're going we're going like god level tier biscuits now.
Yeah.
Like, we're not sticking
and whatever you think that is, that's down to your interpretation.
We're not messing about with the shitty plain digestives and that crap.
Oh god,
we're going like big time.
Can I just say very quickly, if you can hear a cat meowing, it's outside. It's distracting the fucking life out of me. But I'm just trying to power through, so I'm just letting the audience know. So was you finished on your point, Sam?
No,
sorry,
carry on. I got distracted by biscuits. That's what happened.
Yeah, biscuits and cats.
Yeah,
are a reoccurring theme on this channel. Shreds, I forgot to ask you one thing on Maddison. There was a lot of discussion about him pre-World Cup, wasn't there? Whether what's going to happen with him? Will he go? Will he not? Obviously, ended up going. Wasn't really involved, but he's been in fantastic form all season. Do you think he'll move in the summer? And where do you think his level is? Like, where, if he got a move, where would you not be surprised that he's gone to? So if he got a move to City, would you be like, or if you got, you know what I'm saying?
Personally, I don't think City is the perfect system for him. I think the way City play, when it comes to the midfield, they just want someone who has that vision and who has that eye for just making that one touch pass. I think it's to play for City, you need to be of a certain mold to be a Pep Guardiola player. That's why I don't think that Maddison is perfectly suited to that City system. I think Maddison is once again one of those players who adds a lot of flair, is a set piece specialist. He's very creative and he's versatile enough to play on the right hand side as well as a 10. So probably I think Arsenal could be a good move for him. I think at that Arsenal camp probably he can actually show what he's all about. I think could be a big step up for him in there as well. I think even if he comes to United, it will be a very, very good move for him, because right now we are actually looking for players to add to that sort of creativity for us in that midfield. And we've seen, in certain games, in the big games as well, when Eriksen's lack of pace has actually, it has hurt us a lot, and his physicality. So, in having a midfield in where you can say that Casemiro is playing as the 6, then Bruno plays as that advanced 8, and then Maddison plays as a 10, it could function very, very well. And I think United or Arsenal, for me, I think Maddison could actually function very well in those systems.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a very talented player, like Sam touched on as well. The deadly from set pieces, really creative, and Bruno is just running to the ground at times. Bruno needs competition. I think Chivy says that quite a lot as well. He just needs someone there.
The one thing about Maddison as well, he does have attitude problems. Like, that's been his history. Like, that's why he was dropped from the England squad years ago, wasn't he? Because he went out to casino gambling when he should have been in the camp in like resting and recovery. And that's not going to fly with Pep Guardiola. Like, if you use any slight hint of attitude, you're out the door. You saw what he did to Cancelo. Yeah. Like, he started mouthing off. He's like, right, you're gone. See you later. And he's left him without a decent fullback. And I think Thingy's suffering the same treatment at the minute. Phil Foden, he's not playing much, is he? Like, I know did he start today?
Yes. Yeah. I think
but he hasn't started for quite a few games. So, like, Pep doesn't suffer like attitude problems. So if he was to go in, Maddison at City, he'd have to sort of straighten out his attitude and get back on it. But again, that's not something Ten Hag would suffer with either. Like, the attitude's got to be right. So unless he's got his shit together like recently, Ten Hag's not going to fly with that either.
Yeah, I think these kind of managers who inherit the kind of Cruyff philosophy. You look at Xavi, like the way with Rafinha. Rafinha was on it in that game. Yeah. It's like, and then he takes him off. Don't care. This is about the team. He was clearly not happy about that. Pep does the same thing. Ten Hag does the same thing as well. And yeah, I want to focus not on the Barca game, but I want to take some stuff from that going into this one. This is a question for both of you. What can we do? What can we take from the performance against Barca into this game, do you think? Anyone of you can take that.
I think coming off that Barca game, one thing that, we can say is that even if we provide Rashford like a half a chance, I think the form that he is in right now, he's going to convert. Except that I think our defense has been really good. Of course, you can say that, Wan-Bissaka at the fullbacks in those games, I would say it was a 50-50 performance from them on either
Mm.
flanks. But when it comes to, that duo, I think what we actually missed out on was that when Varane and Martinez play together, the way they are able to dictate that back line, the way, they allow us to actually, play out from the back, play that high line, dictate the tempo of the game as well. I think that's something we missed out on. I think still Luke Shaw and Varane did a fantastic job in that game. I think Casemiro, we can just see the difference when he's not playing and when he's playing.
Yeah.
The way he was, able to tackle the likes of Pedri and Gavi in that midfield, and as well as Kessie. I think he did a phenomenal job there. And once again, I think Weghorst is someone who's still a question mark whether he's going to be used as a striker, whether now he's going to be used as a 10, because right now we're not playing to his strengths. I think per game we create like 2 to 3 chances for him, but it is a bit tough for him to convert those. I think in the Barca game he should have converted that chance which he got. I think it was a really, really decent attempt, decent shot for him to take, but managed to just shoot it into Ter Stegen's legs. So I think barring like 2 to 3 positions, we are on a good we are in a good vein of form. Going to the Camp Nou and actually coming out with a draw in a game where we can say that the referee was making some very questionable calls, and we could have easily won that game if we took our chances well. We could have won that game. So I think it should be a big positive boost for these players, and we should actually be able to turn that momentum in the Premier League, get these points, and prepare for Barca coming up at Old Trafford.
Yeah. On that, sorry, I was just going to say as well, putting Weghorst in the 10, you have to move Bruno out onto the right then.
Exactly.
And it's not his best position. He can't really get like a hold of the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I don't think he functions the best as a right winger. He works hard, but I think playing him as a 10, he is able to offer us more impact.
I just think because we're missing Anthony on that right hand side, that's what he feels. Bruno kind of feels that void for there. Because Sancho was all right, but it didn't have much of an effect on that game. Shreyas touched on Casemiro there, Sam. There's going to be rotation, of course, because he can't play in this game. Do you think Sabitzer to fill in again? Maybe Anthony back in the side as well? Like, how do you see it playing out without going into your lineup too much?
Yeah, I think Sabitzer comes back in because obviously Casemiro can't play. And Fred played Barca. He played the full 90 minutes, I believe. And obviously Sabitzer didn't play because he had a suspension left over from Bayern Munich, so he should be fresh. So I think, why wouldn't you play him? Give either Fred a rest, or give, obviously, because you need that sort of, those passes he's able to provide that Casemiro is very good at. Like, you can put that in there, so that's what you need. So I think, Sabitzer to come back in. I don't know if Anthony starts, because if he's not been fit enough to even be on the bench against Barca, maybe he's not quite ready yet. Maybe he starts on the bench here, and maybe
a cameo.
Maybe he comes on later on to get fit, and then maybe he starts against Barca. Maybe that's an option. So I think Sabitzer definitely 100% starts. I think we need that sort of guy in the midfield, and hopefully he kicks on from the sort of promising performance he had against Leeds. I thought he was decent.
That switch, the goal.
So I think there's more to come from Sabitzer. So hopefully he can show some of that in this game. I think he'll get time on the ball as well. It's at Old Trafford. Leicester are not known as a high pressing team. Like, they give you a lot of the ball, so I think he'll have time to sort of be able to show his quality. Yeah,
I agree. And apparently Bayern Munich open to selling him, to the reports.
They said 20 million as well, which
20 million,
is a decent price. Like,
take that.
Yeah. If people are coming in for Scott McTominay for 35-40 million, sell him, fuck him off,
sling him.
Get Sabitzer, and then you've got 20 million profit. Like, it's an easy deal.
Yeah, definitely. As a collective tomorrow, Shreyas, how can we hurt Leicester?
I think, once again, like Sam mentioned, they aren't really a high-pressing team. They don't really play with that high energy, so we'll have more of the ball. I think, once again, we can dictate possession. And I think moving into the final third, that is where we can actually hurt them the most, because, like you said, they are leaking a lot of goals at the moment, and the kind of form that Marcus Rashford is in, I think he's going to once again be that key factor for us in tomorrow's game. If we are able to create the chances for Rashford, or I would just say even get him on the ball, I think he'll score a couple of goals tomorrow. And except that, I think midfield once again could be an area where we can exploit them, because the moment we shut down James Maddison, I think that's where Leicester pretty much just play into our hands, because they want to play on the counter attack, but the player who actually allows them to play on the counter, if he's shut down, they're pretty much just headless chickens on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Weird Leicester, because they're a bit of a hybrid team. Like, they can play long, they sometimes play really nice shorts, kind of tiki-taka football. But they mix it up a bit, and they can mix up formations as well. So it's a bit of a weird approach.
When they bring Vardy on, don't they? That's when they tend to switch it up. Like, they start doing that long ball being behind them. Once Vardy gets
yeah. But someone like Jamie Vardy now is what, 35, 36, I think. Like, he's starting to get to a point now where he's dropping off, and he's not nowhere near a threat like he was, which would be a threat, because the high line that Ten Hag plays, you think that would play right into Jamie Vardy's hands. But yeah, like I said, he's fallen off a little bit now. What about the legs then, Sam, and the energy in this game? Because obviously Leicester haven't played for a week. We played Barcelona on Thursday night. Do you think we'll see a big energy difference?
I think you'll see some rotation. So again, I don't want to get into my my squad, but I think there'll be some big names not in the team, just because of the rotation that we're going to need. Because obviously we played Barca Thursday, and then we're going to play Barca again on Thursday, and then we've got League Cup on the following Sunday, which is absolute insanity. So yeah, I think you'll see some big names dropped. I think you'll see some people in there just to freshen it up a bit and just to give people a rest who will need it. So I don't think energy will be a problem. Again, we've got players back now. Martial, don't know what's happening with him. Is he missing? Is he alive? Do we know? Like, Anthony is back on grass training. Sabitzer's back. Lissandro's back. So we've got some players coming back. So I think, rotation, freshen it up. The quality level shouldn't drop too much. And then Barca, strongest team. And then, League Cup, I don't know what Ten Hag's going to do. Does he just play this big team, both thing, and then the following game, then he gives a rest? I don't know what he's going to do. Really don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
That's where you get earn your wage packet, though, I suppose. Like, knowing who to rotate, when to rotate them. It's interesting. I've got the head-to-head record here, and this might surprise you lot, but in the last 5 games between United and Leicester, we've only won 1.
Yeah.
By the way, only won 1, which was like, what? Yeah. Scoring 6 goals and conceding 10. So they have actually been a bit of a bogey team for us as well. It might not be all sunshine and rainbows heading into this game. And on injuries, we've discussed rotation. Apparently players like McTominay, Anthony Dos Santos and Martial could be available, but we've had no clarity really from the manager. The manager keeps getting asked about it, and he's a bit, we know what Ten Hag's like sometimes. He's a bit stubborn, doesn't give away too much. So we're not really sure. We're still in limbo with that, so we'll see what happens. Of course, Leach will be available for selection again, so it's nice to have that solid platform back in the defence. And Casemiro serving his last game of suspension. So there's your quick update on that. I just want to speak about a couple of individual players. We can't do a preview, lads, without talking about Marcus Rashford. And I thought it's interesting what Simon Jordan said about Rashford. And me personally, I want to get your opinions on it. I actually agree with it to a certain extent. He said he's not world class yet. He's just in a rich vein of form. Thoughts on that, lads?
I agree with it. I agree with him. I think to be labelled world class, you got to do it consistently, season in, season out, just absolute numbers and just absolutely drill. That's what you need to be labelled as world class.
Yeah.
This is why so many people I don't think Harry Kane is world class, but I think that's why people put him up there, because he consistently scores 25 plus every year minimum. Like, he's consistent.
In all comps,
yeah, exactly.
Like,
he's a consistent goal scorer, and that's why Mbappe is getting labelled world class, because consistently every season. I know he's playing in League O, but Champions League records, World Cups. He's 2 World Cup finals, and he's only like 22 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So this is why this is when you get labelled world class. If Rashford could do this again next season, then he's got to be in the conversation. You've done 2 seasons on the trot. That's when you're in the conversation. He does it a 3rd season, then it's got to be like, right, this guy is up there. And he's not even at his peak yet, is he? What is he, 25, 24?
Yeah. So
he's not even at his peak yet. So he's got 2 years before his peak. So he could get even better. So if that's the case, then I'm well looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm enjoying the form right now. I'm absolutely loving it, and it just looks like he can't stop scoring. and I hope he never does stop scoring. But yeah, he needs to do it consistently for a couple of seasons before you can get labelled world class.
Yeah. Are you on the same page as that, Shreyas?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think once again, Marcus Rashford has been one of those players, where we've seen that, he's a very, very talented player. He's got the skill. Ever since that he, broke into the squad, we could see, that young player who likes to take defenders on, just, run past them, has a really, really good shot on him as well. And I think last season was very hard on him. I think for the entire squad it was, but this season I think Ten Hag has, pretty much just, shifted Marcus Rashford's momentum and Marcus Rashford's body language and form in general. He is the reason, in most of the games, he's the reason why we score. And right now, he's the focal point of our attack. I don't think, if that is the biggest reason. If you imagine, Marcus Rashford being injured in a game, that's where, the biggest issues for us arise, because we don't really know, from where the goals will come if Rashford is, not on the pitch. And yeah, I think if he does this for another season, like this season is his best goal scoring season ever. He scored 22 goals already this season, and if he's able to replicate that next season, I think definitely Rashford has to be in the conversation. A lot of times this debate has come up that is Rashford on this similar levels to Mbappe during the 2021 season, and immediately after he had this horrific season where he just scored 2 or 3 goals. So I think definitely if he carries on, I think if Ten Hag can still, I think he's still getting better and better every week, and I think Ten Hag can elevate him to that level. If he's able to perform, if he's able to match that intensity, I think definitely he has that talent in him to be world class. But right now, I think he's just living his best life.
No, I agree. We just let him play in it, let him keep doing what he's doing. Absolutely.
Had England won a World Cup this year, and Rashford played a bigger part of it, because I thought he should have played way more minutes than he did, but that's the conversation. Had England won a World Cup and he played a number of minutes, and he'd had this season, and then say we finish top 3, top 4, and Ten Hag gets a trophy or 2, I think then the conversation weighs a bit more. You're like, he's won a World Cup, Ten Hag has turned his form around from absolutely abysmal, and he's won a trophy with him, and he's finished top 4. Like, the turnaround has been absolutely massive. I think then you've probably got a more of a weight in the conversation for world class. But yeah, I still agree that he needs a couple of seasons to do it. So
yeah. I think the term world class gets thrown about way too much.
It's like the FIFA generation.
So they have a good, someone has a good run of form, is always world class. No, like you said, consistent set and trophies. Play into that kind of bracket. And since the World Cup, I got to start on Marcus Rashford. Since the World Cup, Marcus Rashford has scored 14 goals and provided 4 assists in his 16 appearances for Manchester United. The most in-form player on the planet right now. So, yeah, long may it continue. A man who plays on the opposite side to him, sometimes on the same side as him, Jadon Sancho, scored in the last game, as I touched on before. Shown sparks at times since he's come back. But he's still a work in progress at the minute, isn't
he? Yeah, I think Jadon Sancho, once again, he's just come back after a big hiatus. I think he missed 16 to 17 games, and then he's come back. So definitely it will take him some time to, catch up to that level. Of course, he's shown some sparks. I think the goal against Leeds was very, very crucial. I think he took it really, really well as well. And right now that Antony is out, this is the perfect opportunity, for him to actually redeem himself in the squad, because we've got tons of competition in the squad already. I think Rashford is undroppable right now. I think Alejandro Garnacho being used as a super sub, and in certain games he's starting out as well, and he's regularly getting goals and assists. Like, he's pretty much saved us 9 to 12 points in this season already at such a young age. So Garnacho is there, except that Antony, I think whenever he's fit, he started on that right hand side. So Sancho definitely, I think he needs to start to deliver soon. I'm not really worried, because I think Ten Hag knows what he's doing with Jadon Sancho. I think he just, needs to get a consistent run of games. And I think once he gets that, probably we'll be able to see that level of Jadon Sancho, what we used to see at Dortmund actually replicating at Manchester United as well. But yeah, definitely, I think Sancho needs to step up, and hopefully, in the coming games, he does step up, because right now when you look at the senior players, we've just got three wingers in Rashford, Anthony, and Jadon Sancho, and you would want someone like a Jadon Sancho to step up because it actually provides us with a very, very balanced option of the bench as well in certain games. When like Anthony isn't working out on the right hand side, you put Jadon Sancho on. He's ready to go and probably it creates spaces. So I think Sancho needs to step up, and I hope that he does it really, really soon.
It's weird, isn't it, Sam? Because we was at the Leeds game, and when he came on, he seemed to have a massive effect, and it looked really, really good, sparkling. And then I don't know if it was a case of what side was he on, Wan-Bissaka's or was he on Malacia's? One of the wing backs. I think he was. Where did he play against Barca? Was he on the left or was he on the right?
Yeah, on the left.
He's on the left because Bruno was on the right, wasn't he? And
Bruno
Rashford was down the middle and Weghorst.
Yeah. Because Malacia was dealing with Rafinha quite a lot and didn't really have that option. And Sancho's one of them anytime who needs the piece of the puzzle moving around him in order for him to function. So is there any worries on your side about Jadon's game?
In a minute, I think it's a case of too much too soon. I think Ten Hag would have liked to have fed him in a little easier. Had Anthony not got injured, I don't think we would have seen Sancho as much as we have. But obviously lack of depth in the squad. And Rashford isn't great off the right. He's all right. He's fine, but he isn't great. So I think Ten Hag doesn't want to put him out there. So I think that's why Sancho has been thrown in. Like, he started against Barcelona. Like, it's a big, big ask, especially when you've been out for like almost half a season. So I think it's going to take some time with Jadon Sancho. Hopefully Anthony comes back, takes the pressure off him, and then we can start using him as like a sub, bring him in 20 minutes, get his form back, get his confidence back, and then you start bleeding him in again. But I think it's just been a bit too much too soon. I've got no worries about it. Like, Ten Hag has redeemed so many players. Shaw, Rashford, Wan-Bissaka. Like, he's done it so many different players. So I ain't got any worries about it. I think just give it time. He'll come good. And I do find it funny how people are like, oh, we miss Anthony, man. And these are the same people who were slagging him off week after week after week. And you can see how much of a hole he leaves when he doesn't play. Yep. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens going forward.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we have really missed Anthony on that right-hand side. Well, for whatever people say about him, he is important systematically to how Ten Hag sets up.
Yeah.
So the last question on individuals, what about the right-back situation? Diego Dalot hasn't come back really flying, which, can take time when you've had a bit of a big injury. Wan-Bissaka had an absolute shocker on Thursday night. Like, it wasn't great at all. So we need one of them to start really stepping up now, don't we, Shreyas, and solidifying a spot in that team.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it before as well. I think Dalot takes that spot from Wan-Bissaka really soon. I think the moment, Dalot is, back to full sharpness, I think he gets that spot back because I think right now Dalot is still rusty. He has, he was out for considerable amount of time, so it would take him time to, actually get up to speed. And I think that is one of the biggest reasons why we didn't really see him in that Barca game. And we saw Wan-Bissaka start because he's still, not up to full match sharpness. And he's still working on his fitness levels. So I think probably against Barca in the second leg at Old Trafford, probably we could be seeing Diego Dalot feature in that game. But yes, I think the moment that Dalot is back to his, full sharpness, I think he'll be back to the levels before that he showed before the World Cup. Because before the World Cup, you could argue that he was one of the most consistent performers in our team, and the way he controls that back post, I think he controls and dictates that back post. I think Wan-Bissaka is still not able to track his runners.
He tucks in narrow. Wan-Bissaka, doesn't he?
I think in that Barca game as well, Alonso's header probably could have been averted. I think, of course, when it comes to the defensive side of things, I think Wan-Bissaka is one of the best we have in that department. I think he has improved considerably well while moving forward as well. He's been really, really decent. But I think Dalot just offers us, he just offers us more composure. And if you have to just compare their games on the basis of attack, I think Dalot is definitely better than Wan-Bissaka. And considering the system Ten Hag plays, we can't really judge them on the basis of their defensive capabilities, because defensively as well, I think Dalot is much more well-rounded when it comes to his play. I think he's able to complement Martinez on that right-hand side quite well as well. And the person who's playing up front, I think Anthony and Dalot form a much, balanced partnership in comparison to Anthony and Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on this, Sam. Who do you think he's going to go with tomorrow and then the Barca game? Do you think he'll switch up again or?
I think tomorrow you see Wan-Bissaka. I think Wan-Bissaka continues, and then like Shreya said, you'll probably see a 15-minute, 20-minute appearance from Dalot, and then you'll probably start the Barca game. I think that's the way he goes with the right hand side. Is
that the right decision? Do you think?
I think if you chuck Dalot in now and he has a bad game, it's going to ruin his confidence and he's going to feel a bit unsure. And then you get chucking him right into the Barcelona game, which is a big game. Yeah. Whereas if you give him 15, 20 minutes, he does well. Maybe he gets a key pass or an assist or something like that. It feels good. He can roll into that Barca game, get his legs underneath and he gets going. I think that's... And then you could also, like, if we're up against Barca... Like, say we score a goal or 2 goals or something, you need to defend that lead. You can then bring a Wan-Bissaka on and just tell him, just sit back and defend. Don't worry about going forward too much. Just sit back and defend. Then you can sort of close the game out. I think that would probably be the way to do it. But Ten Hag throws surprises in all the time, so you never know.
Yeah.
Never know what's going to happen.
Well, like we said, Liverpool just scored, by the way. 1-0 up, Darwin Núñez. He's just scored.
Oh, has he finally scored? Has he? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It were a bad goal as well, to be fair. So, yeah, Liverpool 1-0 up against Newcastle, which will benefit us. But, again, it's the Scousers scoring. So, I do take your point, Sam. Sorry, literally just as you finished it, it scored. So, but, yeah, you made some very good, great points. And this is where, like we said at the start of the show, this is where your manager earns your buck. This is where you earn the big bills because player rotation now is going to be fascinating how he sets up for the next kind of 3 or 4 games. Right, let's do some quick fire questions. Straight on the dot. Bing, bang, bosh. Yes or no? No slacking around. Will we score more than 1?
Yes.
Will Anthony start?
No.
Will we keep a clean sheet?
Yes.
No.
Who worries you the most on Leicester's team?
Maddison.
Hey. Will Rashford score again? And is he the best player on the planet currently?
Will he score? Yes. Is he the most in-form player in Europe? Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Shreyas?
Yeah, I think he scores, but I think the best player on the planet right now is Casemiro.
Oh, wow. Nice. Switched it up. Stuck with United, but switched it up. Perfect. Thank you for that. Let's do predicted 11s. I'll as always throw mine out. Just doing a potential VAR check there. I'm just interested to see offside or handball or whatever.
Darwin Núñez gets his goal chopped off.
Yeah. Of course it will be. We'll see what happens with that. Right. Yeah. Predicted 11. Sorry. I'm gonna go David De Gea, Diego Dalot, Maguire, Lisandro, Shaw, Sabitzer, Fred, Bruno, Sancho, Weghorst, Rashford. That's what I think. Sam?
De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lisandro, Maguire, Malacia, Sabitzer, Fred, Bruno, Sancho, Garnacho, Rashford.
Nice. Are you going any different, Shreyas? Are you going to switch it up as well?
I think same. I think De Gea. I think Wan-Bissaka starts this game. And I think instead of Maguire, though, I think probably we'll be seeing Lindelof and Lisandro as a pairing. And Malacia off the left. Then practically we've got no one. So Sabitzer, Fred and Bruno, Weghorst, Sancho and Rashford.
Nice. Very nice. And score predictions. How do we see it going? Do you want me to go first or do one of you want to go?
Yeah, you go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
I can see it going different to the first game. I think it could be a bit of a barn burner with the Leicester performance against Spurs. I think, we've got a man like Rashford in form, and I think 3-2 to United, I reckon, and a potential Rashford hat-trick. I'm going big, fuck it.
Wow. I agree with the score. I was going to say 3-2. I won't say Rashford hat-trick, but I'll say Rashford, Bruno penalty, and Sabitzer.
Yeah, you're probably right. Shreyas?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 3-0. But
everyone's going for it.
Yeah, I think Rashford scores. I think Sancho scores again against Leicester, and I think Weghorst gets a goal.
Interesting. That'll be what 2-8 if he scores. He needs to score anyway. Yeah. But who knows? Could be playing in the 10 again.
I'm saving the Rashford hat trick against Barca.
Wow.
I love that. I love that. Yeah,
Old
imagine.
Trafford.
Wow.
Old Trafford hat-trick for Rashford against
Bouncing.
Barcelona.
Absolutely bouncing. He's going to get finger ache for the amount of times he's fucking doing that. Right, guys, that concludes the preview for today. Thank you for tuning in. Please click that subscribe button and smash a like on the video. Make sure you follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter for your regular updates and clips from the show. And come and join me for the watch along tomorrow from 1 o'clock with Team News Live Super Sunday, which should be very fun. Any final thoughts, lads, before we head off?
Follow us all on the social medias. The links are all in the description. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the good stuff. Come follow us there for the latest news and updates. With the amount of news that's popping off, you won't want to miss any sort of thing.
Yes.
So come follow us on all of them because you make sure you keep up to date. And yeah, please subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. Nobody left a comment of their favourite biscuit on the last one.
I know, it's a bit disappointing, that, isn't it? I know.
Sort the shit out.
It's pivotal information.
We need to know. We need to know this shit.
Please.
So put your favourite biscuit in the comments, please.
Might do a tier show on biscuits. Just like go like.
Mate, the argument that's gonna happen. There's gonna be some really strong arguments in the comments in the chat going, I can't believe you put this on there.
Yeah. God forbid if we ever go through a pandemic again and there's no football, that might have to be a show that we do, just rating biscuits, a tier show. Yeah. Shreyas, any final comments before we head off?
See Palestri tomorrow.
Yeah, Palestra. I had a feeling. I thought it was either going to be Glazers out or Palestra, one of them. But we both stand by both messages.
Will you be asleep?
Give Palestra some game time.
Will you be asleep tomorrow? Yeah. Shreyas, or is it?
No,
the game is at
2 o'clock kickoff.
He's not going to play then. He's not playing. He's not coming on.
Yeah, he's not.
Probably won't be even on the bench then.
No, he won't. No. But hopefully we still get the job done. Thank you for joining, guys. Thank you for contributing. And yeah, we might even be live later on if something goes live about the ownership again. So turn on your notification bell, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.